Easter and Safari Rally brings a lot of nostalgia. As we were growing up, the most beautiful thing about Easter was the Safari Rally. I remember when I was a student at Mbagathi Road Primary School, we used to close school on a Thursday because of the Easter holiday. It used to be around break time. You'd rush home, take your report form, place it in such a way that you'll wait interrogation later on why you are number 4. My father used to be annoyed that I was number 4. In school, the best I ever became was number 4. In intelligence services, I was always number 2. I've never been less than number 2 or more than number 2. But in school, the best I'd ever reached was number 4. And I would be interrogated afadhali Nyayo House. But funny thing, my father used to be disappointed I was number 4 when my siblings performed even double that, but he appeared to want me to be better than number 4 and would insist on it. I don't know why. So I would take my report form, place it at a strategic place, knowing that in the evening there is interrogation, Nyayo House type, and I would remove the school uniform, put on my civilian, rush to CBD to watch the starting of the Safari Rally. By then, it used to be called East Africa Safari Rally. Initially, the starting and ending tram was at the City Hall, along City Hall Way, between the main door and the gate to the KICC. It was later changed and placed inside the KICC. When and how, I don't know. I can tell you Safari Rally was very interesting. Safari Rally has over decades become so boring that nowadays it has become a bit more interesting when they have introduced the Naivasha type of Safari Rally. It has drawn some attention, but I can bet that it has not reached the stage that it used to be when it was East African Safari Rally. The radio stations then used to close at around 11 or midnight, but during Safari Rally, it used to run out throughout the night. And we could hear, we were being told where the vehicles were. For example, this is Mount Chulu. And again, I remember the 2 stations, the English service, which by then used to be called General Service, and the Swahili service, which used to be called the National Service, Idhaa ya Taifa. After midnight, they would join together, and the whole story would be, hapa tunatangaza kutoka mlima Chulu na magari. The vehicles that have arrived here are in the following order. Vehicle number this driven by so and so. It has lost so many points. Then they would do that. And the vehicles would mostly leave Nairobi, go enter into Tanzania through Lunga Lunga. Then from Tanzania, I don't know the geography of that place, but they would they would go around Lake Victoria, enter Uganda, and then come back to Kenya and end up in Nairobi. And that is why it was called a safari rally. It's a rally that people went on a safari. It was very much wonderful. It is not like this today where you go around at the same place several times. Safari rally became boring to many Kenyans when two things happened. When we joined the World Rally Championship, I think that is where we made a mistake, because we had foreigners now dictate as to how it will be. And two, when they changed the reading, we used to hear that the vehicle has reached, say, Chulu Hills, and the people who are leading so and so has lost so many points. They replaced that one with losing 7 minutes or 7 seconds. That made people be confused and not follow it the way we used to follow it religiously. Now, after the World Rally came in, and after the change from points to minutes, and we didn't have to, like now, if you want to follow the safari rally, you'll just be told of what is happening in Naivasha. But during those days, those who are out of Nairobi, you would just wait for the day when it will be passing through your place. There is only one place in later Tanzania and Uganda, because of the East African politics, they withdrew and it became specifically for Kenya. Now coming to Kenya, we were happier because it would cover more areas, but there is an area that every year they stopped covering up that place. For reasons not known to anybody, whenever safari rally vehicles would pass there, especially during the night, men would go out and stone them. Kurusha mawe haikuanza leo. So that is how it is. I will now start on how the safari rally started chronologically. In 1952, there were 3 friends. One was Eric Cecil. They were having a discussion. The other 2 fellows are forgotten, because Eric Cecil used to every year explain over the radio and TV how it started. In 1952, there used to be racing in Nakuru at a place called Langa Langa. So they would go round the place, and Eric Cecil, being the chairman of East Africa Automobile Association, was discussing with other 2 friends when he asked one of them whether he would participate in the Langa Langa race in Nakuru. The friend whom I've forgotten the name told him, I do not need to go to a rally where people go round a circle. I'd rather go to a rally that takes one long distances, for example, from Nairobi to Cape Town, where you'll see all the geographical features and whatever, and that would be a safari and it would be a rally. So the idea was born in 1952, and when Eric Cecil wanted to sell the idea to East African Automobile Association, they saw that it was a crazy idea. So a chance came in 1953 when You know, the Queen Elizabeth was coronated around that time. And then Eric Cecil came up with an idea that to commemorate that, they should have a special rally that would be a safari rally. And since East African Automobile Association handled their issues, today we have ours called AA of Kenya, Automobile Association of Kenya. But those days it used to be called East African Automobile Association. So they said that they should go around the jurisdiction, the way I've said, in a circular manner and come back. He was given permission to have it on only one condition. He was told that you remember they had the East African Automobile Association had complained that they would not want the idea of going around was a crazy idea brought up by cowboys. But since East Africa wanted to commemorate the Queen's coronation, they were allowed. So I want my viewer to understand that when they were allowed, it was on the understanding that it would be just for that year, for the coronation. Then came the problem of funding. Eric Cecil, I'm confusing. Eric Cecil was given the task to look for finance. He raised 1,000 British pounds. Half of the money, that is 500 pounds, was raised by East African Standard. They are still there, they still have the newspapers. And half of that 500 was raised by Shell petrol station people. They continued with the safari rally on and on and on, and various people used to win. The first Kenya was a colony of Britain, so Kenyan and British were considered to be local. But the first foreigner to win the safari rally was in 1972, Hannu Mikkola, who was a Finnish. If my age mates will tell you that he used to be referred as the Flying Finn. That was 1972. In 1973, Sheikh Mehta won the safari rally. His co-driver was Lofty Drew. If you remember the history of Uganda very well, in 1971-72, around there, Idi Amin had chased away Indians from Uganda. And among the Indians who had left that country was Sheikh Mehta. So Sheikh Mehta came and became a Kenyan citizen. So when he won the safari rally in 1973, he got a congratulation message from none other than Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada. Idi Amin Dada congratulated him and said, after all, it is Uganda who had won. You see, that people really laughed at that. During those days, among those very famous drivers, we had those times, we had people like Vic Preston Jr., we had Joginder Singh, who used to give our country a good name. Joginder was even given a nickname called Simba ya Kenya. One of the reasons why he was given the name Simba ya Kenya, there's even a time when he had a Colt Gallant vehicle, and he was given number 17. So if you write number 17 and change the 17 upside down, you'll find that it forms the name Lion. Africans, drivers, were not left behind. We had our own Peter Shiuka. Peter Shiuka was a permanent secretary. Nowadays, permanent secretaries are called principal secretaries. He was a principal secretary, but whenever there was a rally, he would have a short break and take part in the safari rally. We had also, for a longer time, we had Patrick Njiru, the ever jovial person. From 1980 to 92, the safari rally was sponsored by a cigarette company which was called Marlboro. So it temporarily changed its name to Marlboro Safari Rally. You can talk a lot about Safari Rally. I've just scratched the surface. Thank you.